Okay, let's start with a really difficult truth. Picture this. You're in a room full of people and you ask, "Hey, who here thinks cheating is wrong?" I mean, pretty much every single hand is going to shoot up, right? It's an act that we all seem to agree is a profound betrayal. But then, what if you asked a follow-up question? What if you asked that same room, who here has ever cheated or been cheated on? Well, the statistics tell us that a shocking number of those hands would probably stay right where they are. And that's the thing about infidelity. It's one of the very few human behaviors that we all condemn, but so many of us seem to practice.
So that really brings us to the core question we're tackling today. If we're all on the same page that cheating is just so destructive, why is it everywhere? Are people just bad? Is it really only about sex? Or maybe is there something much, much deeper going on? Something biological, something psychological, happening just below the surface that we don't talk about. Today, we're going to try and move past the simple black and white judgment and really put infidelity under the microscope.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to dig into this universal paradox that sits at the very heart of modern love. Then, we'll look at the constant tug of war between love and desire. After that, we're putting on our lab coats to explore the cheater's brain, the actual biology of betrayal. From there, we'll get into the really surprising psychology behind affairs, and we'll wrap up by looking at some science-backed ways you can affair-proof your relationship.
So let's kick things off with the fundamental problem here. This is the core conflict, the paradox, that is baked right into what it means to be human and to be in love. You see, as humans, we are pulled in two completely opposite directions at the same time. On one hand, we have this deep, deep need for security. You could call it love. It's that feeling of safety, reliability, of being home. It's the comfort of a partner who knows you inside and out, the person you can always count on. But then, there's the other side of us, the side that craves adventure. And that's what fuels desire. It's the thrill of novelty, of mystery, of risk, and the powerful pull of the unknown. It's our need to explore and feel truly, vibrantly alive. And this is where it gets so tricky for us today. Historically, marriage was often for security, and maybe people found adventure elsewhere. But today, our expectations have gone through the roof. We want one person, just one person, to give us everything. We want them to be our rock, our best friend, our co-parent, our trusted confidant, and our passionate, erotic, exciting lover. We're asking for someone to be totally familiar and at the same time, endlessly surprising. And that creates a really tough situation for our brains, because the very security and predictability that love needs to grow can actually smother the mystery and uncertainty that desire needs to ignite.
And that really is the central tension of monogamy, isn't it? We have these two powerful, often opposing needs, and when that initial spark, that mystery and novelty, naturally starts to fade in a long-term relationship, some people don't just miss the sex, they miss feeling alive, they miss the charge. And an affair can start to look like a really misguided attempt to feel that spark again. A spark that can feel like it's been completely extinguished by the comfortable, predictable routine of everyday life.
Okay, so what is actually happening on a biological level when this tension between our need for love and our hunger for desire leads someone down the path of cheating? It's time to get a little scientific here and look at the actual chemistry inside the brain. What's going on in there?
This brings us to a fascinating and, frankly, kind of funny biological principle that scientists have seen in almost every mammal. It's called the Coolidge effect. The classic experiment goes something like this. You have a male rat in a cage with a female. At first, they're busy, but after a while, the male just gets bored. He loses interest. But then, and this is the kicker, you introduce a brand new female into that cage. All of a sudden, that male rat is re-energized, ready to go again. What happened? His brain got a massive jolt of dopamine. That's the reward and motivation chemical, simply because the partner was new. This strongly suggests that our brains are, in a way, hardwired to respond powerfully to novelty.
Now, here's where it gets really crucial. When you take that dopamine rush from the novelty and you mix it with the very real risk of getting caught, the brain creates this incredibly powerful chemical cocktail. The secrecy, the forbidden nature of it all, that triggers adrenaline, our fight-or-flight hormone. So now you have dopamine and adrenaline swirling around together, creating a state of hyper-arousal. People call it the cheater's high. The brain literally mistakes the anxiety and fear of being discovered for intense, overwhelming passion. And that's why an affair can feel so much more passionate than a stable, loving relationship, not because the connection is deeper, but because the chemical cocktail is just so much stronger.
Okay, we've covered the biology, but now let's shift gears to the psychology, because in many ways, this is even more profound. What if I told you that, for a lot of people, cheating isn't really about finding a new partner at all? What if it's about finding a new version of themselves? This quote from the psychotherapist Esther Perel just nails it. It perfectly captures this huge insight. It suggests that, so often, the real motivation for an affair isn't about sex or even about the other person. It's an attempt to reconnect with a part of yourself that you feel you've lost, or that got buried somewhere along the way.
There's this idea in psychology called self-expansion theory, and it makes so much sense here. I mean, think about it. In a long-term relationship, we naturally fall into roles, right? You become the responsible parent, the reliable provider, the good spouse. And while playing those roles, it's so easy to lose touch with the more fun, reckless, or spontaneous parts of who you used to be. Well, an affair partner, they don't know you as a parent or a bill payer. They only see you in that one specific context. They basically act like a mirror, reflecting back a version of you that maybe you thought was gone forever. So in this view, the person isn't even really falling for the new partner. They're falling in love with who they get to be in that person's presence. It's an identity crisis disguised as a sexual crisis.
So after hearing all of this, you might be thinking, well, is monogamy just doomed? And the answer is no, not at all. But the idea of passive monogamy, where you just cross your fingers and hope for the best without putting in any real work, that's probably doomed. What we really need is something called active monogamy. So let's pivot away from the problem and start talking about the solution. Let's look at the science-backed steps you can actually take to strengthen your relationship against these powerful forces.
Okay, let's walk through these 5 key practices. First, bring novelty home. You can't change your basic biology, but you can work with it. You can hack the Coolidge effect. Actively create brand new experiences together. Go to a new place, learn a new skill, even just get playful and try role-playing. This stuff triggers that same dopamine hit we talked about, but it's happening inside the safety of your own relationship. Second, address the fantasy. Look, if you find yourself fantasizing about someone else, don't panic. Get curious. Ask yourself, what does this person or situation represent? Freedom? Being desired? Once you identify that unmet need, you can actually bring it to your partner and talk about it. Third, this idea of windows and walls. It's a great metaphor. You want a big, transparent window of honesty between you and your partner, and you want to build strong, protective walls around your relationship to guard it from outside influences. Cheating so often begins when you get that backward. You open a secret window with someone else and build a wall between you and your partner. Fourth, build erotic intelligence. This might sound strange, but desire actually needs a little bit of space and mystery to breathe. It's about letting your partner be their own person, so there's always a little bit of a bridge for that desire to cross. And finally, number 5, practice radical honesty. The opposite of cheating isn't just not sleeping with someone else. It's conversation. It's having the hard, scary, vulnerable talks about what's missing long before you ever feel the pull to look for it somewhere else.
And this might be the most important takeaway of all. After all this talk about brain chemistry and hardwired instincts, here's the good news. You are not a rat in a cage. You are not a slave to the Coolidge effect. You have a prefrontal cortex, that amazing part of your brain that handles planning, impulse control, and making conscious choices. Your biology is not your destiny. You have the power to choose.
When you get right down to it, love isn't some magical feeling that just happens to you and then sustains itself without any effort. It's a verb, it's an action, it's a daily decision. It's the conscious choice you make to keep investing in your relationship, to find adventure with the person you're already with, and to choose your partner again and again and again, especially on the days when it's hard.
So I want to leave you with one final thought to wrestle with. We've talked about the biology of physical attraction and the psychology of wanting to find a new version of yourself. And that brings up a really tough question. Which is actually the bigger betrayal? A physical act that might be driven by novelty and brain chemistry, or an emotional affair that builds an entire secret world with somebody else? Is emotional cheating worse than physical cheating? I'd love to know what you think.